Hello. In this demonstration, I want to show you how you could use the Animation tab under the Polygon Type tool that you're able to use within Maya. And so here I have an example. Let me go ahead and press play. And once it comes back around, you're going to see that this is a type of animation that you could potentially create using the Animation tab. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me stop this. I'm going to go ahead and hide this example. I'm going to select it and press Control H. And now under the file menu under Create, I'm going to go into Polygon Type, click, and now it's going to give me, I have the attribute editor open over here on the far right hand side. And under the type tab, now you might have a different number. Mine says type 2 because this is the second one. It might be type 1 if this is your first one. What you're able to do, go ahead and type some text. One thing I do want to mention is that depending on your options, if you only have one, depending on what you type out, for example, I'm going to go ahead and type out hello Maya. And so depending on if you either type words that have space, if you type out sentences, you have different options. And so go ahead and type something out. If you wish to use a different font, these fonts are all dependent on what's on your computer. I'm just going to go to my basic Arial. I'm going to change it to regular. And so we have this. Now, by default, we just have our type. It is stationary. You are able to animate it using your typical Maya tools where I can move this up and down using my move tool, the translate, and keyframe there. However, within the type tool, there is this animation tab. Now, before we go over this, I would suggest that you go through it and make any type of adjustments if you want to use bevel text and all that good stuff. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on the animation tab. So now that we have this, if we scroll underneath where it has your text, there's these different tabs. I want to focus on the animation tab. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. I want to tell it to animate. And here you have the options. What are your animation modes? You either have the characters, where each character is going to do something different, the word, or a line. So, like I was mentioning earlier, depending on what you have different options here. I'm going to set it to character, and we could see what it's going to do once we start to add some animation. So I'm going to go and tell it to for character for right now. And so, what I want to do, let's see. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I had my keyframes that are already right here. What I want to do, I want to start off. Typically, I do like to have like an idea of where I want my endpoint to, or the target mode. However, I just want to make sure that I have like the right information, and that first, on my timeline, I'm starting at frame one and I'm going up to 168 frames, which at 24 frames per second, that is 7 seconds. And so I know that at frame 48, 2 seconds in, I want either my first letter or my first word to touch down. And so just keep that in mind. So at frame one, I want to start off. And what I want to do, let's do something really basic. For translate here, I'm going to change this to 20 and press enter. And so what I want to do, I want to only keyframe the things that I'm changing. So in this case, for translate Y, again, X, Y, Z, I'm going to right mouse click and tell it to set key. It now adds a keyframe specifically for 20, knowing that I'm going to animate it. And down below right here, where it says set keys, I'm now going to go up to frame 48 and I'm going to tell this to be 0 now. And you can see that something's happened and that the translate Y is being animated. My animation mode is character. If I rewind to the first frame and press play, you see that now from frame one to frame 48, that's where the first letter is going to touch down. Notice that because I have other letters, it's taking a little bit longer. So this is something that you need to keep into consideration. If you are typing out the alphabet, you're going to need, you might need more than 7 seconds yeah, for if you have lots of words. Let's go back to frame 48. And so if I change this from character to word, you're going to see now rewind and press play that the whole word is touching down at frame 48 and Maya continues. If I rewind and go to line, these are lines of text. And so now they are all landing at the same time. Now you could have multiple lines of text, so keep that in consideration. I would suggest that you experiment to see what the different options are. I'm going to turn on this auto update key set so that we could actually see our different keys. And so, okay, it's not showing them. Interesting. I'll look into that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to character. And so, one thing I want to do, I want to have fun with this. If I want to change right now, say for example, my letters to be really thin and then reveal. So at for X, Y, and Z, so this is going to be for scale for Z at frame one. Maybe I want this to be just uh, 0.01, really thin. I'm going to right mouse click on this. Now I only want to keyframe the things, the values that I want to change over time. And I know at frame 48, I want the value for scale to be X to be 1. Enter. Now, because I should have mentioned this earlier, I do have the auto keyframe toggle turned on. So that's why it automatically adding like those keyframes. And I could see what I'm getting right here. Looks really cool. Let's press play. Let's stop, rewind. We have some more fun. So they're expanding right here. What if I want them to rotate? So if I'm looking at this, I want to rotate them around right here. So it's going to be rotate Y. Rotate Y is going to be 0 at this frame, but how many times should we have them rotate? Let's go ahead and change this to 90. Enter. This is only going to be 1/4 of a turn. So at frame 48, I want this one to be 0. Rewind and let's press play. Oh, you know what? I failed. I failed to add a keyframe at frame 1, set key. And at frame 48, so sorry, this should be 90. And now at frame 48, this should be 0. I was like, why isn't nothing happening? So just there we go. Now, if you want to really have them turn around, so let's go ahead and say 360. One complete revolution. So notice that I don't need to make any other adjustments because the keyframe at frame 48 was already at 0. Rewind, press play. Now, notice something happened right here. They stopped, but they kind of went back. Now, this is a slight little glitch where it's not updating my other keyframes. A solution. This one knows that they're going to rotate 360 degrees. But at frame 48, it still has the information that it's from the previous one. So I just need to update it. I'm going to tell this one to be 1 and now back to 0, enter, rewind, press play, and it updates. Let me show you this again. Say, for example, you see the height. Right now, my height is at 20. What if I actually want this to be at 40? Enter, rewind, press play. It's going to look fine for the hello, but then boom, it jumps. So I just need to update. It's like for some reason it's not updating right here. So I'm going to tell this just to be 1 and then now back to 0 at frame 48. So I'm just doing a manual update. So now they're changing over time. And so you can change this back. I'm going to go back to frame 1 from character to word, rewind, press play. So now the entire word is dropping. So I really like the characters, but let's check out the line. Very cool. Very cool. Let's go back to characters. and say, what if I want this to be 1080? I said 1080. Enter. Now I am going to need to make an adjustment. Let's rewind and play. Let's see what happens. Woo! It goes down. Okay, it works. This one, nice. You know, I am noticing a slight because it's rotating so fast, I can't see it. So at frame 48, I'm going to tell this to be 1, enter. It updates it, go back to 0. There we go. They all fall into place. Hello, Maya. And you can have fun with this. Right now, I'm only changing a couple of different options, but if I want my letters to also fall down, say for example, for scale Y, X, Y, Z for scale, rotate Y, right here, I want them to, I'm going to switch to my rotate tool. Let's see. This value, I want to check out what value that is. Okay, the negative, let's go back. Because what I want to do is in my attribute editor, I want this to start off negative. Let's see. What if I tell it minus 360? Right mouse click, set key. And then at frame 48 to be at 0, enter. Nice. They fall down into place. Now, what if I was to tell this to be at positive 360? And I'm probably going to need to change this one as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it. 1, 0, enter, enter. Now, if I want to get rid of something, say for example, what if I don't want the rotation of Y? I could just tell it at frame 1 to be 0. Or if I right mouse click on it and tell it to delete connections, that's going to delete all the keyframes that I had for rotate Y. So now my letters are kind of falling. That's fun. Now, I should mention just watch out for any potential clipping. I can see that the two L's are clipping in there. Now I have no control over the clipping, but just make note of that. Know that, okay, your letters might clip based off of the angle. Just make note of it. Make note of it. But you could have lots of fun with this. This is using just the characters. If I go into the word, rewind, press play. Yeah, I really like the characters better. All right, but I would suggest that you do some experiments. Try out different settings, try out different rotations, different translate. Everything is coming from up above. You could change this. Have fun with it. So let me know if you have any questions. You can always drop them in the comments or send me a message. Otherwise, hey, have fun with this. Good luck, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.